Hello, and welcome back to the British Accent Podcast. I'm Nick.
And I'm Emily. It's lovely to have you with us. Today we're talking about something that often gets overlooked, the quiet, healing power of small things.
Yeah, those simple moments that don't look like much, but feel like everything. A warm cup of tea in your hands. The softness of a blanket wrapped around you. The hush of a slow, quiet morning when no one needs anything from you yet.
It's strange, isn't it? How the things that seem so ordinary can be the very things that hold us together on the hard days. They don't fix everything. But somehow, they make it all a bit more bearable.
There's something about simplicity that's deeply human. When the world feels heavy, and you're tired of being strong, it's often those tiny comforts that remind you, you're still here. You're still safe. You're allowed to breathe.
And I think it's easy to miss that. We're constantly told to chase the big solutions, the next breakthrough. But healing doesn't always shout. Sometimes, it just whispers through a warm drink, or a quiet corner.
And the thing is, those small things don't ask anything of you. They don't expect you to be productive or put together. They just offer presence. A moment to be soft. To pause. To let your guard down.
Even something like making tea can become a ritual, you know. Not just about the drink itself, but about slowing down. Putting the kettle on. Hearing it boil. Pouring with intention. Holding the mug and letting it warm your hands.
Exactly. It's not about the tea, it's about the space it creates. A gentle kind of mindfulness. A return to the now, without pressure or performance.
I think sometimes we wait for the big moment to feel better. The perfect conversation, the big breakthrough, the life change. But healing often happens quietly, in between all of that.
Yeah, it happens when you let yourself rest your head on a cushion that smells like home. Or when the sunlight hits the wall just right. Or when you finally exhale without realizing you'd been holding your breath all day.
There's something deeply kind about those moments. They don't rush you. They don't try to fix you. They just let you be, and sometimes, that's exactly what we need.
And I think the beauty of the small things is that they're always there. Even in the mess. Especially in the mess. You might not be able to solve everything today, but you can wrap yourself in a blanket. You can open the window and feel the breeze. You can light a candle and just sit for a bit.
It's like, your life doesn't have to be perfect for small comforts to matter. You don't have to earn them. You don't have to wait for everything to be okay first.
And in those moments, there's a kind of quiet power. You remember that healing isn't about being strong all the time, it's about letting softness in. Letting yourself be human.
Some mornings, just sipping tea in silence feels like the bravest thing you can do. Because it means you haven't given up. You're still showing up for yourself in tiny, gentle ways.
And maybe that's enough. Maybe it's more than enough.
And I think the more we notice these little things, the more we begin to trust that healing doesn't always need a big breakthrough. Sometimes, it's just choosing to stay gentle with yourself for one more day.
Right. And it's also about giving yourself permission to feel comfort even when things aren't fixed yet. Like, I'm still going through it, but I can still enjoy this one warm moment.
There's real strength in that. It's not avoidance. It's not denial. It's care. It's saying, I see that I'm hurting, and I'll still choose to be kind to myself in this moment.
Sometimes it's a quiet morning where nothing happens, that can remind you that you're still okay. That you don't have to rush into the noise just to prove you're coping.
And we forget that, don't we? That peace isn't always loud. It's often slow. Still. It's in the way the light comes through the window, or how your body finally relaxes into a chair you've sat in 100 times.
And in a world that moves so fast, those things can feel invisible. But they are real. They matter. They hold us up in ways we rarely give them credit for.
They help you breathe again. Not because they fix the world, but because they remind you that you're part of something softer, something survivable. One small moment at a time.
Yeah. The softness doesn't solve everything. But sometimes, it keeps you going. And that's more than enough.
And I think when you start noticing these gentle moments more often, you begin to realize how much they've been holding you all along. Even when things felt heavy. Even when you thought you were completely alone.
It's like the little things never left. You just needed space to see them again. And once you do, they become anchors. Tiny reminders that you're still here, still breathing, still allowed to feel good, without needing a reason.
And they don't demand anything in return. That's what's so beautiful. A soft blanket doesn't care if you've had a productive day. A quiet morning doesn't ask if you've ticked all the boxes. They just offer presence.
Exactly. It's presence without pressure. Like a kind friend who sits beside you without needing to fix anything. Just quietly says, I'm here. Rest now.
Sometimes healing isn't loud. It doesn't make a scene. It's the tea you make when your thoughts are spinning, and the warmth steadies your hands. It's the slow way you fold your laundry, or the way you tuck yourself into bed a little earlier.
It's showing up for yourself in the softest way possible. Not by doing more, but by letting go, just enough to let peace in. Just enough to let comfort speak.
And maybe the world won't celebrate those small acts. But that doesn't make them any less powerful. Because in your quiet, private moments, they're often the things keeping you together.
And maybe that's the real magic of the small things. They don't ask you to be anyone else. They just help you remember who you are, underneath it all.
I suppose it's easy to overlook those gentle routines, isn't it? We think healing has to look dramatic, or like some kind of transformation montage. But in truth, it's often just about coming back to yourself, quietly.
Yes, and realizing that you don't have to chase healing. You can sit still and let it come to you in small ways, through silence, simplicity, softness.
Like when the house is quiet, and you're the only one awake. You hear the kettle boil, and for that moment, you're not rushing. You're just existing. And that's enough.
I think those are the moments when your nervous system finally gets to breathe. When you're not performing, or fixing, or pushing. You're just letting the moment be what it is.
And that's where the real shift happens, isn't it? When you allow those pockets of peace to matter, just as much as your to-do list. When you let the quiet moments carry some weight.
Because they do. They remind you that life isn't always meant to be loud and fast. It can also be slow, still, and deeply nourishing.
Sometimes I think the most healing thing we can do is let go of the need to constantly strive. To just sit, wrapped in a soft blanket, with a warm mug in hand, and say, this is enough for today.
And it is. It truly is.
And the more we honor those moments, the more we begin to rebuild trust with ourselves. Not because we've done anything extraordinary, but because we've listened to what our heart really needed.
It's a kind of quiet self-respect, isn't it? Letting yourself be held by something ordinary, without needing to earn it. Just because you're a human being who deserves comfort.
And I think that changes the way we move through the world. When you know that peace can be found in a cup of tea, or the way your jumper fits just right, it gives you a new kind of strength. One that doesn't rely on being on all the time.
Exactly. It's not about checking out of life, it's about noticing life differently. With more tenderness, more grace. It's choosing not to rush past the things that actually bring you back to yourself.
Sometimes the healing is in how slowly you stir the honey into your tea. How carefully you wrap the blanket around your shoulders. How gently you speak to yourself when no one else can hear you.
And those are the moments that often stay with you. Not because they were flashy, but because they made you feel safe again. Even if just for a minute.
And really, maybe that's all we need to keep going. A minute of softness. A moment of stillness. A reminder that it's okay to feel, to slow down, to just be.
It's in those moments we remember, healing doesn't always look like progress. Sometimes, it looks like peace.
And maybe the beauty of it is, no one has to see it. You don't need to post it or explain it. These moments, they're just for you. Private, personal, and quietly powerful.
Yes, that's what makes them sacred in a way. It's the act of choosing something kind when no one's watching. Choosing comfort when the world tells you to keep going harder.
It's such a quiet rebellion, isn't it? To say, I will pause here. To pour a warm drink instead of pushing through. To rest, even when rest isn't trendy.
And it's in that pause that your body finally exhales. Your thoughts stop racing. You come back to this moment and it's like, nothing needs to be fixed. You're simply allowed to exist.
Allowed to exist gently. Without defending yourself. Without having to prove your worth through output or strength. Just existing in the softness of now.
It reminds me how healing doesn't always ask for effort. Sometimes, it just asks for presence. Noticing the softness. Letting it in. Letting it hold you, even if only for a while.
And even if everything else still feels uncertain, those small rituals help you feel rooted. A cup of tea in your hand. A soft light in the room. That's something solid. Something warm.
And when you stack those little moments, day by day, they begin to form something steady. Something real. A quiet kind of resilience.
So if today feels heavy, or a little too loud, maybe just begin with one small thing. Something warm. Something soft. Something quiet. It doesn't have to fix everything, it just has to meet you where you are.
And maybe that's enough. Maybe that's where healing begins, not in big steps, but in the tiny kindnesses you offer yourself when no one's looking.
Thanks for spending this moment with us. And wherever you are, we hope you find a bit of calm in the little things today.
We'll see you again next time, right here on British Accent Podcast. Until then, go gently.